Dorian, what are the keys when you guys are playing small more often and you're having to defend up for a whole game? And what are the kind of main points of emphasis from the coaches, and how did you guys execute tonight?
When we go small, the main emphasis is boxing out. Obviously, we small, but everybody, but maybe Gabe or AR is 6'5" and under. Everybody else 6'5" and up, but. No disrespect to AR. I don't know how tall he is.
6'5", yeah.
Yeah, he's 6'5", yeah. But and then make a decision, put him in pick and roll and pop, and just make the best read.
You were getting a lot of open looks on that pick and pop. But what's it can be kind of a simple play, but what are the subtleties to it? What angles are you looking for, and how have you grown there?
No, just if the big guard me or Rui. We just put him in action. Tonight they was guarding me, so I got the shots. And I think last time we played him, he was guarding Rui, and Rui got the shot. So it depends on whatever the big gonna guard.
Luka told us that his advice to you, or I guess demand to you, is that, hey, if you're not going to shoot him, I'll shoot him instead.
Yeah, he kept telling me that.
Do you, because of the way you play, very team-oriented style game,
yes,
does that encouragement help? Because it's not maybe your nature to take 10-plus threes a game?
For sure. Especially, I'm always want to make the right read. So if I see somebody running at me, I'm going to make the swing. He like, bro, you hot player. Shoot the ball, So, it feels good when, guys like him and Brian telling me to shoot. It could be the other way around. Shit.
Even with that encouragement, is it still... I don't know. I can't think of a better word than disorienting when you do look at the box score.
Yeah, it is, because I see people running at me, and I'm, I want to make the swing, or, I think for instance, we got a good look from Goody, but again, Luka like, bro, you just hit, you made 5 threes. What are you doing? So it's one of those. If it go in, yeah, but if you don't shoot it, they mad because you hot player. So, I'm just happy they just kept finding me though.
As a veteran, how much do you follow the standings this late in the season?
Everybody paying attention. Let's be honest. Come on, man. Everybody looking at the standings. We don't want to be in the play-in, so every game matters.
Dorian, I know obviously it's just a couple games, but now that the team's kind of fully together and they've won these games against these top talents in the West, what does it do for the team to grind out these kind of victories?
It was good. JJ said tonight was going to be like a playoff game, and it was. It was low scoring. We was in half court a lot, so it was a great test for us, and I feel like we got better today.
Dorian, not just being able to take and make shots, but what goes into just being adaptable overall for the group?
I think that's one of the great things of my game. I can play with any team. I can gel well with anybody, especially when you got star power over here. And like I said, I'm just happy them guys was finding me tonight. I was rolling. Gabe been hot player last couple games.
Thanks, Joe.
Yep, appreciate you.
Gabe, just from the game between the lines to just the atmosphere, how would you describe the win tonight?
Just competitive. We had to get a little gritty at times. We had to really lock in defensively. It was a great test for us at this time of the year.
What did you think about the execution on both ends of the floor down the stretch?
I think it was great. I think we had to really compete and get some stops, and we were able to do that. And then we had to execute on the offensive end, whether it was running the set or getting the ball in, and we were able to execute.
They scored like 148 last night. You guys hold them under 100. What does it say about your ability to kind of focus on the task at hand and whatever the coach said asked you to do defensively, be able to do it?
Yeah, I think that was just what was required tonight. They were low scoring as well. It was a very defensive-minded game, and we just had to continue to fight. You like this one? I appreciate it. Trying to be like you, man.
JJ mentioned pregame that you guys are trying to build a playoff mentality. How have you seen that show itself between the Memphis win and tonight?
Just value in each possession. Everything matters when you get to the offs. You can't take plays off. So I think we saw moments of that here tonight as well, and we're just trying to continue to build that, especially down this last stretch.
How much you watching the standings night to night?
Me personally, or just in general?
I meant more like as a team.
I think it's more so we're just aware of it. I wouldn't say we walk in the building and we have it posted on the wall by any means. We understand what's at stake. We understand what we got to do, and we're just trying to take one game at a time.
What about you personally?
One game at a time. I could give a damn about the standings as long as we top 6. That's just me, though.
Gabe, in terms of what's the mindset required when you play off of ball dominant players to know like some nights you might get 14 threes and some nights it might be 2. Like how do you have to kind of handle that?
I think you just go out there and compete. You know, you keep winning the most important thing. You trust them to make the right reads, whatever it may be, and you just be ready to impact the game the best way you can.
Not everybody's been to the finals for agency, though, you know. So
I mean, we almost lost to the 10 in the play-in, so that was a crazy run. Yeah,
Thanks.
we good? Appreciate it.
Thanks, Gabe.
Thank you so much, Kevin. Appreciate it. Luka, you guys came out that second half, draining threes, diving for balls, getting rebounding. How were you able to dominate in that second half, take advantage all the way to the end?
It was our defense. We battled. We said before the game it's going to be like playoff game, and it was. The physicality was the top, and we battled through it.
Physicality was amazing. It was so much fun to watch. I know JJ challenged you, LeBron, and Austin to play with a little bit more trust, a little bit more creativity. How have you seen the chemistry develop between the three of you guys and you with this team since you've gotten here?
Great. I think that was our worst game as a trio so far, but I think we shared the ball great. Everybody was getting shots, pick and pop, pick and roll, so everybody was involved, so that's how we got to play.
Luka, 7 games left in the regular season. There's some tough ones on the slate. What is the mentality of this team now as you vie for that playoff spot?
Yeah, just go game by game. Can't look forward. Go game by game. Every game is going to be a battle, and we go and try and win every game.
How about Dorian Finney-Smith, Gabe Vincent draining those threes? What'd you think?
Yeah, very good. I told Dodo he got to shoot more. He was open like 3-4 more times. He didn't want to shoot. So
keep shooting.
That's what I told him.
Luka, appreciate it. See you soon.
Thank you.
Looked like you fell a couple times on that elbow. How's that feeling?
Terrible. Terrible. Yeah, but fine in 2 days.
Okay. JJ mentioned clearly, Houston was kind of selling out to prevent the lob to Jackson, certain things with you getting downhill or LeBron and Austin. Did you feel like the patience to get the ball to Dorian, get the ball to Gabe, cut it to your shooters, is that just how you have to play in that situation?
Yeah, definitely. Just do what the defense give you. They got to give you something at some point. So once we saw they're doing that, we were just telling those guys to shoot.
I know you have the confidence from Dorian, going back for years now. Okay, well, fair enough. Your banter aside, with that level, and then how do you feel also just with Gabe and your other teammates now, and how comfortable are you with the rest of the roster as well?
Great, very comfortable. As you saw today we fought really hard. It was a very physical game, and we got to play like this every game. If we play like this on the defensive end, on offense, we didn't do much outside, Gabe and Dodo, but we shared the ball. We were playing forward with pace, and we just got to play like that.
You like giving Dorian a hard time. You guys go back a ways as teammates, but what's it like trying to get him to shoot as many times as he did tonight? Do you have to encourage him some? And JJ was telling us that the looks he's getting are probably as good as the look you're going to get on the team. Do you have to kind of keep reminding him that please keep shooting?
No, I just told him today, if you don't want to shoot it, I'll shoot it. Honestly, you can ask him. I think he could have shot more. Even he was 3 or 4 times he was open, he didn't want to shoot it. So that's the only thing I told him, and he knows how I tell him.
Do you recognize though his maybe reluctance to do that, considering there is you and LeBron and Austin, like really talented offensive players, and he plays a team style of brand of basketball that you understand the why he maybe is not just looking to gun?
Yeah, but he talks shit in practice when he shoots with me, so I don't see why he don't want to do it in the game. But no, I mean, he's a great player. Those players you need on team. Never complain. Play 48 minutes, play 0. He's never gonna say a thing, and he's a fighter, man. Always love him. Always love how he plays, and just happy to be reunited with him.
Luka, JJ said with so few games remaining, you guys have started to talk a little bit more about seeding and the playoffs as a group, and that this point of the season is about ramping up for the playoffs and just that urgency. Have you felt that, especially these last couple of games against Memphis and Houston from you guys?
Yeah, definitely. That's fourth in the West or fifth and second in the West. Those are potential playoff matchups, and we knew what we need to do. So I think that's how we play hard, and that we just went out and wanted to get a win.
Luka, on that note, what do you think it can mean with the group having to go through different ups and downs with close games as of late? What it could mean to you guys for the playoffs with getting ready for that?
What do you mean ups and downs?
Oh, with
in a
just
game?
having some close games, Indiana, Chicago tonight.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's so many games. There's always going to be some close games, but one we closed and one we didn't. So sometimes they make a half-court shot. There's not a lot you can do. But those games that you lose like that build you up, and that helps the team, I think.
At this point in the season, how much do you pay attention to the standings and push for specific seeding? As you guys close the regular season.
A little bit. We talk as a group mostly. But we just gotta go game by game. That's why I always say. You can't look forward. You gotta go game by game. Every game is a different challenge, so just gotta go game by game.
Hey, Luka. We see you cracking jokes, and the chemistry is definitely there on the court. Over the last couple of weeks / month and a half, how has your guys' chemistry grown off the court, especially over all these last couple of road trips?
Well, we didn't do even dinner yet. We had so many games, so we didn't have time for that. But, out the court is great. Everybody, we're joking in the locker room. Then when we need to lock in, we'll lock in. So the chemistry is a great point right now.
Thanks, Luka.
Thank you.
Braun, down the stretch, both sides of the ball, execution-wise, where did you guys take a step forward? Where did you get better tonight?
I thought defensively we was very locked in with our game plan and our what we wanted to do. It's a team that won, I think, 13 out of 14. They've been red hot, probably the hottest team in the NBA. And we understood that we had to key in on our keys defensively in order to win the game.
Obviously, no one knows this time of year better than you. JJ mentioned pregame about this team building a playoff mentality. In terms of that being successful heading into the postseason, what will that look like for this team?
Urgency, playing with urgency. We know that we got a lot of playoff experience in this locker room, but we all know that one play here, one play there can be the difference between winning the playoff series or not. So, playing with urgency, playing with physicality, and then holding each other accountable, that's most important.
Are you someone that looks at the standings? Have you done that in the past, and why or why not?
Because it's so close here. This year in particular, it's so close, and people are jumping each other, falling behind, whatever the case may be. It's not like I don't do it every day, but, it's talked about pretty much all the time, and you kind of see where you're at. For us, obviously, our mission is to lock in a playoff spot and not have to play in the play-in, so we understand what's at stake.
What was the read off of their inbounds play where Şengün got the ball? I think Austin was on his back. What did you see in terms of...
I just read tendencies. I know tendencies a lot of what players like to do, and that was just a read, and AR, did a great job of not just giving them a straight line to the basket. I just tried to cover for my teammate.
I think the last time we asked about this, you said, you weren't trying to worry or look too far ahead, but 6 games back from the groin injury. I guess progress-wise, where are you at in terms of physically and your rhythm and to where you want to be before?
I'm getting better every day. Every game I'm starting to feel a little bit better, after the injury. My wind is getting back a little bit better, besides coming off that last road trip and being under the weather once again. But I'm getting back.
On the fact that you all have gone through some close games, both with wins and losses lately, what do you think that can do to prepare the group for the playoffs?
Just stand even keel. Don't get too high, don't get too low, no matter what's going on throughout the course of the ball game. And win, lose, or draw, if you go out and you have your game plan intact, you try to execute that to 48 minutes, then give yourself a good chance to win every night.
Over the last 22 years, you've seen it all from fans, but there's one new trend going on, all those LeBron songs. I'm just curious if you've seen them.
Yeah, it's almost impossible, but my youngest son, Bryce, actually showed me one. I think it was yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday. And we got a good laugh out of it, but it's quite a few out there, for sure.
Was it the choir?
No, it wasn't the Baylor choir. I seen that one. I saw that one. It was, I don't know which one in particular it was, but my son and they all on TikTok. I'm not on TikTok, so they showed me.
Ron, your podcast, Mind the Game, is coming back tomorrow. New co-host, obviously, Steve Nash. What made you decide it was important to bring it back, and why Steve?
Just about the essence of the game. I want to continue to push the narrative of why we all fall in love with the game and the intricate parts of the game, and what made us, believe and fall in love with all the great things that this game has brought to all of us. So, I had a great mind, a partner last year, partner again as my head coach, and now I got a great partner to sit across from now, and the great mind of Steve Nash. So it's going to be super exciting. It's going to be pretty much just picking back up what we kind of left off from last year, just speak about the essence of the game, and why we kind of all fell in love with it from nostalgic era to we loved things that you love to do, what you love about the game, the intricate parts about the game, what makes it so competitive, what makes it so great, what makes every era great in their era to where we are now today. So, and also giving people the insight of, real basketball knowledge, so I think it'd be a breath of fresh air for everybody.
Thanks, LJ.
Appreciate it.
Coach, I know obviously it's just a couple of games here where the rhythm's kind of been found, but do you feel like now that you have the whole team kind of together and you're able to stack these wins against these top teams, that the team's kind of unlocking something, figuring it out together?
Yeah, I wouldn't say a rhythm. Those are two very different games. I think the competitive spirit and togetherness, we had to play really hard tonight to put ourselves in a position to win the basketball game. We set a season high for catch and shoot threes with 29. A lot of those were uncontested. We were 2 for 16 on uncontested threes in the first half. I feel like, we left a lot on the table, and they did a really good job, I thought, of not allowing us at times to get the matchups that we wanted with some of their scrams. They have a great defense. They communicate well. They're big. They're athletic. They're strong. But we weathered some missed shots, did a good job of taking care of the basketball, limited them to 13 fast break points and 10 second chance points, made them play in the half court. Our guys really competed on that. And they left everything on, they emptied the tank. They emptied the tank on the defensive end. It was fantastic.
JJ, Houston played some huge lineups, and I think you were small for a pretty good portion. What allowed those units to have success, and what's the key when you're in those formations against a team like that?
Well, defensively, it's just packing the paint and getting rebounding. I think we did that tonight. LeBron 8 rebounds, Austin 8 rebounds, Luka 6 rebounds, Doe 6 rebounds, Gabe 4 rebounds, Vando 6 rebounds. That's how we have to control the glass is by committee. This was very explicit. If you're on Şengün and Adams, you're not going to get the rebound. Your job is to box out. It's somebody else's job to come in, tip the ball to a teammate, or grab the rebound. We were great with that tonight.
When we were in Memphis, you told us that you liked the way that the team kept going to Dorian on the three-point line, even though he was missing some, and he hit a big one tonight. His best game offensively as a Laker. Have you had to, coach him up to be able to, keep shooting? For him, it's probably feels strange to shoot 11 threes when you have Austin and LeBron and Luka as teammates. Yeah. But you had to kind of unlock that in him?
They should have been 14. He should have shot 14. He passed up 3. I think his teammates have a ton of confidence in him. We as a coaching staff have a ton of confidence. He needs gentle reminders sometime to keep shooting. And particularly, look, the type of shots that he gets, whether that's a corner 3 or a pick and pop versus a 5, they're open shots. We're not going to get a better shot. He has to be willing to unload the clip every night.
JJ, I know you kind of already touched on it, but it felt like they were really making a point to get the big 3, the ball out of their hands and into everyone else's hands, and you could tell that kind of by their field goal attempts. How did you feel like you guys handled that, and is this kind of like a reference point for the playoffs when you're playing teams that are probably going to try and do the same thing?
Yeah, I think, Houston, they have the personnel to do that. our three guys that are our primary creators and shot takers, I thought just did a good job of being patient and taking what was there. And if they wanted the ball to find Gabe and Dorian, I think those guys responded well. They shot 12 for 24 from three. Again, it's just the willingness to take shots. And it wasn't just the two of them. Rui missed 5 threes that were open. Like we generated good stuff. It was very obvious that they were trying to take away Jackson's roles. They were loading to Bron. They were loading to AR. They were trying to not allow us to score in the paint. And then with their fives, just they never went to a switch. They never went to a red. So it was just all pick and pop. And again, we want those guys taking those shots if they're there.
You mentioned pregame that tonight could be a significant step in terms of building the playoff mentality, this team's playoff mentality. How much of a step do you view that from tonight? And not just tonight, but also the Memphis win as well?
Yeah, I think if you lose those 2 games as reference points, it's a great example of how different games can be game to game. And in a playoff series, each game is its own thing because teams adjust and they decide what they're willing to live with, what they're trying to take away. I think particularly on the defensive end, the emphasis was on every possession and really valuing that. I think for the most part we did that, and that to me is what you have to do in the playoff series. Offensively, the game plan that a team is going to throw at you is different night to night. And I thought, again, our guys' just willingness to pass to each other, and the guys that were open took open shots.
JJ, in games of this magnitude, how important is it to have guys starting their roles like Do and Gabe did tonight?
Well, I think it's not just in games of this magnitude. It's if you want to be a good basketball team, you need guys to start in their roles. And it goes back to the thing I've said a couple times, which is on bad teams, players reject their roles. On good teams, players accept their roles. On great teams, players embrace their roles. And we've had a number of guys that aren't the big three or whatever moniker you want to give AR, Luka, and Bron. But we have a number of guys on our team that have fully embraced their roles, and it's been the difference in our season.
Thanks, Coach.